So yeah, welcome. And if you didn't hear me already, my name's Georgia Neekin, and I'm one of the licensed practitioners here at CSL White Rock. So thank you for joining us. I'm just going to do a quick little invocation. So if you want to just sit back and take a deep breath in and just breathe in all of the wonderful people that are sitting here in front of us today and with us, and all of the people that you know in your life that are here, all your friends, all your family, all your neighbors, everybody. Just breathe that in, that one breath that we all are. Knowing that this oneness is here today, as always, 24/7, before we were here, long after we're gone. Yes. And today we welcome the weather conditions as they continue to improve, and the quality of air as it continues to improve. Everything is temporary. We remind ourselves that whether we're suffering or exhilarated or celebrating, in whatever mode we're in at any moment of the day, everything is temporary. So as I know that temporary place, I can always dwell on that source of light and living and love that we all are. I go back to that place, to that moment, to the breath that recognizes myself and the oneness in this vast, vast universe. Today we welcome our singer, our speaker, our guest speaker. Everything is all as it should be, all in perfection. And I open this wonderful time together right here, right now. And so it is. All right. So now I want to introduce our delightful Linda Kidder. She's going to perform for us as one of our regular musicians. She's an award-winning artist here in Vancouver. Her recent endeavors include songwriting with other artists, and their recordings are available at YouTube at Friday Night Release Party. And please join me in welcoming Linda Kidder.
Thank you. This is brand new. The crickets are out, singing in time to their own sweet rhyme. The crickets are out, and the days are growing shorter now. It was getting dark by 7:30 last night. I say goodbye to summer. You changed overnight. It was so hot just a few days ago. The time has gone so fast and slow, where morning lasts for hours on end, and days are filled with glistening grains of sand. I say goodbye to summer. You were nothing short of grand. Na 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 na. We find that naps are integral to our well-being. Na 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 na. All the love and the fun and the sightseeing, and we swim and we play and we while away the hours. Oh, I'll miss you, summer. Now I'm rolling again, back on the highway heading for home, and I'm smiling again. From this state of grace, this closer look, this place in time, this music for my soul. I'll say goodbye to summer. Your warmth will sustain me all year. Goodbye, 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 my sweet dear.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you. Thank you, Linda. That's so lovely.
Thank you.
Oh, Oh, what a nice way to begin our day. Well, that was wonderful. So, Linda, if there's any other upcoming events that we didn't mention, please put them in the chat for us so we can catch up with you. That would be fantastic. So as we begin our gathering, as settlers on this land, we are honored to live and operate on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Coast Salish peoples. And in where we live, we include the Kwantlen and the Katzie. We thank the first people who continue to live on these lands and care for them along with the waters and all that is above and below. Here at CSL White Rock, we are an inclusive spiritual community and learning center. And learning center is critical because that is a big piece of who we are. We teach spiritual principles. We offer tools to use in all areas of life regularly and consistently. Our life flourishes and flows out of ease and grace when we practice these. Our teaching is based on the 4 cornerstone beliefs. Number 1, there is one power and presence that is in back of all, behind everything that is, the creator of all life and all things. Number 2, we are spirit having a human experience. Norm and I say that all the time. We're spirit being human. Number 3, nothing outside of us needs to change in order to be happy. That one also has helped me in many, many challenging moments. And finally, we're here to walk each other home. So if you came to this center because you thought, this feels like home, welcome, because that's the way most of us feel when we arrive at this place. Our vision at CSL White Rock is a loving, vibrant world that works for all. So welcome all of you, friends, family members, first husbands. Thank you for being with us today.
And again, my name is Tamara Rossander. I'm the spiritual director, and I get to introduce today a dear friend of mine. So we have been walking this path of ministerial studies together for the last 3 years. And I don't know what it was about Jade, but as soon as I met her, as I walked into the center up in Kelowna, I don't know, she enveloped me in this big hug. And I'd never met her, and she took such good care of all of us ministerial students by providing us food, getting us organized, and just set up the tone for what we experienced over the next 3 years. And Jade has worked at our center. She's been helping me along this path. She's come and done some meditations for us. Last winter, her and I did with Georgia. We did the winter solstice together. So it was lovely. And now she's also helping our leadership team go through a book study of the 15 commitments to conscious leadership. As Jade is committed to developing consciousness, as she's developed the life that she loves to live, and as she walks her path of ministerial studies and into now just completing that and knowing that she'll be an online virtual teacher, but yet she wants to be there for communities to help us develop and grow forward. So Jade found her home at CSL in 2015. So not that long ago, and she dove right into practitioner studies, and she finished that and went, no, I think I need a little bit more, and dove right into ministerial studies. So her goal is to walk softly with awareness of the world around her, and she does a beautiful job of that. So I'd love everybody to welcome Jade Harms, ministerial student, practitioner for Center of Spiritual Living, Seattle.
Thank you. I'm going to change the view because I want to see everybody. Thank you so much for the opportunity to come and share about creating a life that matters. And that's what's happened to me. I remember waking up on October 12th in 2015 and thinking, is this all that life is and life is about? I was feeling pretty alone, raw, disillusioned. I'm going to flash back to the previous year, October 2014. My husband and myself had been with one vehicle, and I was working hard. You know, he was trying to develop a business, so he needed the vehicle. I was working hard, and I finally scratched up enough to maybe get a second vehicle. I was off to the auction. This was going to be fun. I was going to find a vehicle so that I had some wheels and could get around. If anybody's used transit, and I know the Lower Mainland's not bad, but Kelowna is even worse, let alone Lake Country, which is even outside of that. It barely exists. You got the one bus that runs down the freeway. So if what you need is on the highway, you're good. Otherwise, it's a little tougher, a lot more walking. So there I was, headed off to the auction to get a car. Had no idea what I was going to get. I just knew that there was going to be something for me. And I'm watching them drive them through, and you know, I look and there's that little gray car up there, and you know, people were not really bidding on it, not wanting to give it a lot, and I thought, that thing's got under 100,000 kilometers. It still has life. It's going to go places. I want that car. So, you know, I hadn't even crawled in it, but it was driving enough to go through, and I thought, there's some inspections that come out of a dealership. So I went and bought the car. And it ended up being like a 2003 PT Cruiser. The inside was immaculate, just beautiful. I had a set of wheels. You can imagine how excited you are if you've lived for, oh gosh, it was 2 or 3 years without a car. And now you got wheels. I can drive myself to work. So I phone up my husband to say, I got something. And I said, I've got a PT Cruiser. He says, oh, those aren't good cars. Take it back, send it back. My world, from being excited to have a car, was just, whew. It was like somebody had pulled the chair out from under me. And I was just totally devastated, dissolved to tears. I hung up on him. I don't hang up on people easily, but I hung up on him that day. And I went, it's my car. I'm driving it home. So I did. And I kept the car. I still have the car. And it's still running. So no hardships there. I've put another 100,000 kilometers on the thing over these years. So that was really the point where I said, enough of this. I don't deserve to be treated like that. And I started making a decision for myself. Flash forward to 2015. My ex-husband moved out a couple months prior. Things were dissolving, obviously, quickly. And I thought, I got to go out and see the world. So through that year, I found it's not such a friendly place for a single woman. There's a lot of opportunities and not many good places to find people. I had just walked into CSL, like about September. So this was October. I wasn't familiar with CSL. And that morning I woke up, October 12th, and said, life shouldn't be like this. And that's really the day that I made a decision to create a life that matters to me. Because at the end of the day, we all have our lives, and who does it need to matter most to? So that was my decision. And since then, well, as you obviously know, I dove right into practitioner studies, managed to get through that. And during that time, I was reading books, and I remember reading a book from Wayne Dyer. And he's got that beautiful line in there. Don't die with your music still in you. And I took that to heart. And I now know that really I was learning to wake up. I was learning to take those moments and become aware of myself and what was happening inside of me. And then I started in with CSL and I was growing up. Then now I'm showing up. Have you ever faced a day, a person, or a situation and made a decision that changed the course of your life? It's in those moments with those decisions that move us to truly being ourselves. We look at those decisions and we can see them as a turning point, a point where you wake up to some realization or some aha moment of what you want to do, how you want to be. For me, it was about authenticity. It was about being myself and noticing what it was that were my dreams, my desires, and moving on towards them. We've all heard that quote from, or looked at the sayings from Michael Beckwith. Life, you go from life happening to you and you start waking up and notice that life happens for you and you keep growing and life starts happening by you and you keep growing. This speaks well to stay with the practices, because the more we stay to our principles, our practices, whether it be meditation, whether it be studying, whether it be working with others, whatever practices you have, whatever helps you to grow, stay with them. And then life happenings starts to happen as you. Ernest Holmes says, God is ever going forth into new expression, and every word we speak, every thought we think is a further creative activity of God at the level of our expression of God. So if you feel that, as you think of those words, I'm going to repeat this again, but this time I want you just to make sure your head is not looking down at the floor and you're listening, but rise, bring your eyes up and just think about how these words land with you. And I'm going to repeat this twice, and I'm going to change a couple words on the second one, and just notice the difference. So God is ever going forth into new expression, and every word we speak, every thought we think is a further creative activity of God at the level of our expression of God. Notice how that feels. Now, as you keep looking up, because grow up, show up, there's something about this up that keeps showing up. I actually had a funny thought that occurred to me, is like, why do we wake up? Why don't we just wake? We grow up. We use that word up all over the place. So keep looking up. Now here it comes again. God is ever going forth into new expression, and every word I speak, every thought I think is a further creative activity of God at the level of my expression of God. How did that feel? Did you notice the shift with the I instead of the we? And it brought it down to a real personal level for me. It stirs my heart. I remember the day that it came home to me that my thoughts, my ideas, my desires were unique to me. They're not everybody else's. But then as something that's unique to me, that is truly mine to do. Because every thought I think is a creative activity of God. And it's up to me to express it. So every thought you think is a creative expression of God, and it's up to you to express it. So how do we express this? Well, we grow up. Every aha moment we have, we wake up a bit more. And I mean, growing up physically is easy. It just happens. Too bad it gets into this growing old part. I just rather grow up and stay young. But we also grow up mentally, emotionally. And how do we grow up spiritually? Physically just happens. That's what our bodies are trained, and everything is in there for that to happen for us. Mentally, we learn how to walk, we learn how to talk, we learn how to ride a bike, we're sent off to school. So mentally, we learn a lot that way too. Emotionally, we learn how to manage our own feelings and identify them and express them. Spiritually, well, you're all here, so you're doing it. You're showing up to a place where you can get spiritual truths that help you grow up. The solution to waking up, growing up, and showing up can be simpler than we expect. A novelist, Pico Iyer, says that the opposite of knowledge isn't always ignorance. It can be wonder or mystery, possibility. He writes that in his life, he's found that it's the things he didn't know that have lifted me up and pushed me forward much more than the things I do know. When has what you don't know pushed you forward into greater possibilities and greater knowing? I didn't know in 2015 what I know now. The possibilities that have opened as I've taken this path of waking up and growing up have spurred me to so much more. I've discovered the solution may be easier and simpler than you think. Follow the wonder, follow the mystery, follow the possibilities, chase what you don't know, follow your desires. That's how you create a life that matters to you and brings the excitement and the joy that others see. This last spring, I was in a training session, and the leader of that training session took it upon themselves to directly criticize everything I was doing wrong. I sat there stunned. I didn't know what to say. It's like, I didn't expect that at all. And I just kept going, what the HE double toothpicks just happened? Years ago, an event like that would have made me crawl under a stone and, hide in a closet and probably never emerge for years. But now I got it down to days. So I'm growing up. And it's events with situations, with people, with family that trigger you, and you sit back and you go like, okay, so now what do I do? That's when you really realize how far you've come. When you have these line in the sand moments where you can stop and look at your life now and how you handled the situation versus what you were like years ago. This growing up allowed me to walk away with my dignity within a couple days. It didn't take long. It also helped me to see the truth of the situation I was in, and that maybe this place wasn't the safest place for me to be. I needed a place. It helped me recognize what it is that I needed as an individual. And it was truly the point in time where I said, okay, enough of following people, or we're looking for training. We have teachers around us, but don't put them up on a pedestal. I then claimed the universe or God or source as being my mentor, the one that's going to help me walk the path. I opened that door to seeing everything that the universe is supplying for me, doing for me. I opened my eyes to seeing the messages that the universe is giving me. I ended up with a whole series of dragonfly incidents. It started with being in a camp and seeing something outside the window. And then they said, okay, go out to nature. And I went out, and it wasn't until I got my cell phone out and took a picture of it that I actually seen it was a dragonfly. It had landed on a branch, a bare branch, and it had blended in so much you couldn't even see what it was. Then I was sitting in a conference in Edmonton, looking out the window, and at lunchtime, 1 minute there was one flying around, 2, 5, 10, 20. And I'm going like, whoa, I got an air show to watch. Then a couple days later, I was out camping and I felt something on my back. You reach back, you pull it up, and I had a dragonfly in my hand. I find when something shows up in threes, I need to pay attention. So I thought, dragonflies, what do dragonflies mean? Google, thank God for Google, quick answer. It talks to me about transition. And I thought, well, how appropriate. I'm just finishing off ministerial school. I'm in transition big time. And I thought, oh, the universe is still there. It's leading me. It's just showing me its transition. It's all good. And it just like, that breath to know you're right exactly where you should be. That point where you get to open your eyes and realize that you've walked out of your cocoon and you're spreading your wings to whatever is next. I also wrote this up in a paper that went off to my instructor, and it's like, okay, you're spreading your wings as well. Don't forget that part of it. So the symbolism, be open to other inputs, share these stories, because who knows what somebody else is going to say that turns around and lands and you go like, yeah, that's right. That makes total sense. So if we open our eyes, life is showing us all the time the messages we need so that we can break out of our cocoon and find our own wings so that we can fly. So the solution may be simpler than you think. Let God, source, universe be your guide. Don't be the script writer. Just tell your guide where you want to go. So the end point is here, and don't meddle. Because in that spring event, when I thought I was going one direction and that event happened, everything dissolved. It's like, oh, I thought I was going down this path and that's not a safe path. Okay. I just sat there, and then things started coming to me. The opportunity to teach in Seattle opened up, and I went, okay, now I understand a bit more. So let the universe write the script and just wait for stuff to come to you. You designated the best man for the job, best woman, best individual. God is not man or woman. So, you went to the best source for inspiration, for guidance. Trust that it's going to come up. So wake up, start growing up, learn the principles about how life works, play your music, and then show up. That's how you make a life that matters. Oh, And October 12th, that's my birthday. And just take a deep breath, knowing that there truly is only one source, the oneness of the universe, the oneness of everything around us, the oneness that we each are. There is no separation. There is only good, and we know it's God. We know it's our source. Knowing that we are the good, the God, the source, we know that we are creators of our lives. Accessing that ability to create our life is as simple as breathing, because we know the oneness, the power, and the presence around us, that it accomplishes things even before we've thought of them, is at work in each and every person's life, creating each and every person's unique, special experience. And all these experiences are just the expansion of what is. So we're all partakers of this expansion. We all know it. We all feel it. It is us. We are it. And the joy of being able to expand with so many other individuals who breathe the same air, who are the same, who we are connected with, brings joy, and that joy is expanding. Knowing that this joy can expand and cover the globe, I release this joy, I release this expansion, I release this understanding that it's all one thing, and we are all that one thing, as individual expressions, as collective expressions. Knowing that it's all good and all God, I release it to the law that says it is so, it is done. And so it is.
This is our time to show gratitude. If the law is circulation, it's in constant movement, giving and receiving. And so today, if you really appreciated today and all the other days that we've provided fantastic speakers and wonderful offerings, it's a time to show that thankfulness through giving and receiving. So the good is given, the more that's given, the more that's received. And this is how the law works. The abundant prosperity of life naturally expands. Life is better. And for this, I am, and we are all deeply grateful. So I now invite you to place your hand on your heart, take a breath, and be grateful. And when I think about gratitude, I recognize all of the good that is available to me. With an open heart, loving heart, I give thanks for all the gifts that life continuously provides. And so it is. So please join me in making a donation to CSL White Rock. Should you give regularly, you can join our committed giving program. All the information's in the chat. Tu has just posted it there. If you look at it, you can see all the ways to donate. We still take checks. And next week you can bring money in person, put it in an envelope if you wish. So yes, so thank you again. Thank you again, Jade. Very blessed. And we get to hear this wonderful music from Linda Kidder.